Better? Oh, still can't hear me, huh?
Hey, Kelly, we can hear you.
You can't hear us.
Oh, okay, now I can hear you.
Yay.
That was so strange. I don't know what was going on. Okay, well, let's dive in, guys. This is the noon call, and I want today to be more of a working call. I know sometimes we...
Oh, she got me black. That's cute.
Yeah. Rhonda, can you hear us okay? Okay, she just muted. I wanted to make today more of a working call because we're now about 2.5 weeks into this, or 2.5 months actually into this Maven program. So this is the month where promotions start happening, where we really want to get strategic about what our goals are and what we need to do to fill the holes in the path towards that goal. So whenever I'm going for something, you know, in particular, a particular goal, I like to say, okay, here's where I am right now, and here's where I want to be. So I want this to be kind of an unmuted call if possible. And I would love to hear from all of you. Like, what would you love to see happen this month? What is missing right now? And then what actions can you take to get closer to that goal? This is definitely, we've all, spent a lot of time kind of building our calendars up where we want them to be. We've been focusing a lot on booking and sponsoring and some kind of basic skill sets, but now it's time to kind of take all those actions and have them come together so we can get closer to our goals. So I would love to hear from you all. So for those just joining, Ashley, Charlotte, I told them I want today's noon call to be very much a kind of practical working call. I would love to hear from all of you where you are versus where you want to be and what actions you could potentially take to get closer to that goal. So whoever wants to go first, if someone's at work and needs to knock out their turn, let me know. And by the way, everyone, welcome Brittany onto the call. Brittany is
welcome, Brittany.
She is a new rock star jumpstart stylist who is just kicking some serious booty. So welcome, Brittany.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who wants to dive in and go first with their goals?
Well, I guess while I'm unmuted, I guess I'll talk. So I'm still fairly new at this, so I'm still trying to figure out everything and really what I want to do, I guess. I guess my why is constantly changing. But I think something I could do better in is I have 4 girls under me, and Victoria does a really good coaching me, but I think I need to do a better job coaching my girls, because sometimes I get lost in my business and trying to propel it forward that I lose sight of kind of helping them. So I think that's something I really want to focus on is I guess now that I'm getting in this, I guess you could say, leader position from being a coach and sponsoring, I want to kind of focus on that.
That's awesome. And we actually, I don't know if Victoria explained how these Tuesday topics work, but I'm so excited that you joined Maven, because we're doing a lot of that as a part of this Maven program, kind of learning how to coach. Because you're right, it's not something that you just know how to do right off the bat. There's a balance to figure out, how much effort to put into your personal business, how much effort to put into your team, how you can kind of do those things simultaneously. Right off the top of my head, I would say that sharing what you're doing with them every time you do it goes really far. So I'd have them all in a group text together and be like, hey guys, my goal today is to book 3 shows. So here's who I'm reaching out to, and here's the words I'm saying. Just that simple act of sharing what you're doing goes so far. And we are having one of our breakout calls today is going to be on coaching. It's sponsoring and then coaching to build leaders. So that would be a really good one for you to pop on if you have time later today. Did you see the, Victoria, did you send her the schedule? Because I don't know if she can see, scroll above once she got added to the group.
I didn't send her the schedule, but we both could hop on at noon. So that's why I sent her just the noon call, because I don't know, Brittany's schedule constantly changes. She's either doing a screening or she's in the car. Every time we're poloing, she's in the car. So I'm okay,
yeah.
she's going somewhere.
Well,
but no, if you want to enlighten her on that, or we can talk after about the Tuesday topics. I didn't enlighten her on anything else other than the noon call.
Yeah, perfect. So we have so many different topics each week, and I always love to hear from you all what you want to get trained on. And we just have a lot of great open discussions. People ask tons of questions, and we all share ideas. So it's not just me talking, it's everybody in the group kind of sharing their wisdom and experience. So I'll shoot you over a message with what today's schedule is. But you can also
that sounds good.
On recordings, and you can also listen from the car. Like a lot of people are on the go listening to these.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I see that Kirby's on the call too, and she's actually on lunch duty right now. She legit can't talk, so she's only here just to listen and to get some ideas. So just to let you know, she's on too, and she only knew about the noon call as well. I just invited those two.
Oh, awesome. Welcome, Kirby. Congrats on your awesome start. You two are seriously very, very impressive. It's awesome. Okay, good. So who wants to go first? Okay, I'm going to volunteer. Amy, tell us where you are versus where you want to be. Obviously, you are one of the few big promotions already this year, so you are tracking really well. What are you going for? What are your obstacles, and what are some actions you can take to fill those holes?
I always feel my constant obstacle is time and time management and being able to do things in small windows. For some reason, Parker is still napping. I'm usually not able to come on these calls without him. So it's getting everything that I can get done in the 2-hour window that he naps, and then at night, because that's really the only times I'm able to work, and being able to kind of work with new stylists and veteran stylists and emerging leaders and leaders all in around my schedule, because I used to have all this flexibility and could do stuff whenever. Now I just have these small tiny pockets. So that's kind of an ongoing obstacle. What were the other questions?
Sorry, I muted myself. So, and then what actions are you taking right now to kind of fill those holes?
I love all of the setting your own office hours, which I did unintentionally because of Parker. But a lot of people have been saying, if I set up 2 or 3 times a week where I do a Zoom for 30 minutes or an hour, would you pop on? Or and I know that Charlotte, your team does a weekly or maybe a bi-monthly new stylist training and a team check-in, and I love that. But it's between my schedule and Michelle's schedule. It's really hard for us to get one we can do together. So I did a poll on my team page last night, if I open this up, would you guys be down for it? And overwhelming yes. So it's nice to know that people who actually do want my time, and I'm working with that, trying to find some kind of Zoom, and I'm getting used to Zoom now from a moderator perspective. But I'm trying to implement that so I can kind of have a Wednesdays at 8 p.m. I'm always going to be on. If you have questions, here I am.
Yeah. And I find when I do things like that, Amy, when I have that schedule, I'm so much more efficient, because then people will typically wait for that time with you, and they are more they'll be respectful of okay, this is when I've got Amy, I'm going to get on and I'm going to ask her everything. So that's smart. And it'll keep you coaching every week too, because sometimes that's the first thing to slip through the cracks, because it's the only thing you don't necessarily have to do, but your business booms when you do it.
And then I find, because I've had, between Michelle and I and other girls on our team, we've had a lot of growth, which is awesome. But then I'm trying to fit in new styles training and everything else during my working hours, which is when Parker naps. But then my personal business isn't moving. So I can't tell you the last time I did reach outs for trunk shows, because I feel like I'm doing all these little things in what should be my time to do my personal business. So, and I've, all things considered, I've had a pretty good method. But I just feel like I'm starting to see things get derailed a little bit. So I feel like having this set time will help get things back on track. So it's my time, and then time that I can work with everyone else.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally. It is all a working balance and figuring out how to do it. I do think that the Wednesday booking blitzes that we've been doing, that has been kind of a game changer for me too, because I have that scheduled as an hour of my business, and I'm so much more likely to sit down and do it. I think,
like you said, if no one comes on, then that's an hour that I can work by myself.
Totally. Yeah. I think it's brilliant. And I sat down this morning, and my 10 o'clock with Danielle got canceled because she's traveling to Dallas. And then my 11 got canceled because Megan's sick. And so I took those 2 hours, and I've just been personally texting every single person in my personal generation, basically the March Madness deal. So I think too, don't get overly reliant on Facebook, because so many text backs this morning. People are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. That's so exciting. So we think because we're on the Facebook pages a lot that others are as well, and they're not. Yeah. So I think that text communication, and it opens up a lot of great conversations. I've heard several times this morning from people, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you reached out. These are people who totally ignored me. I looked back through the text, they ignored my January, my February messages. But now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I actually do want to get back into it. There's some really cute stuff right now. And then it's opening up that conversation for me to be like, okay, how can I help? I'd love to chat. So just know that, unresponsive.
Kind of going on what you were saying, Kelly, and I took this from Sam, is that a lot of people are like, well, no one's seeing the post I'm doing on my team page, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. Well, Sam and I started implementing something where if we have big news to share, like Blythe summer release video that we have access to, we'll post a thing that's like, I have this, text me for the info. So you might get 3 people that like it, but we're getting dozens of people texting us that want to see it. So people are seeing the post. They're just not active for some reason. So we've been peppering in things like that. Polls also help, but that's a different topic. But yeah, to get the conversation going.
That's a great idea. That's really good advice. Perfect. Okay, Virginia, how about you? Can you talk? I know you're at work.
Hey guys. So I have a lot of areas that need help, but I've had a real struggle booking this month. I don't know why. I have lots of shows next month, and the months after that I have people lined up, but this month has been tough. So I ended up buying a bullet, and I'm hosting my own show, and I invited like 30 people that I barely know, like all daycare moms. And so I'm hoping that's going to help me book, with those people, because these are people who like don't know the brand at all. So that's what I'm doing to try to change that. I'm having a problem with my older stylists. Just trying to engage them. I tried competitions, I tried prizes, I tried a bunch of different things, but now I'm really focusing on like one-on-one reach outs, which I think you talked about. And so that seems to be working a little bit better. So I've been able to connect. So that's been good. And then I really need to sponsor more, because my new stylist, Lisa, my new stylist, Lisa, she just sponsored, and she's amazing. And they have 9 shows between them. And so I'm like, I need more of that so I can get to Mexico.
Okay, that's a very good problem to have. Like, seriously, and that's normal. Most of your team kind of being inactive, and then like a few strong people is like, that's a great thing. That sometimes the hobbyists will wake back up, sometimes they won't. But sponsoring new is how you're going to get to Mexico. But take that 9 stylist person and get them to star. Like, someone who can have 9 shows is absolutely 100% a star in the making. So helping them and be really strategic with them, because that is very, very rare to have someone who can book for themselves in that team right off the bat. Absolutely. That's someone you want to give a lot of TLC to. Yeah. So what is your particular goal? What are you shooting for?
Yes, I'm trying.
Yeah, sounds like she's a star in the making. Is that something that's on your radar, working towards AD?
Absolutely, for sure. I really, my goal all year has been really to double my team by Hoopla. So I think I'm like 3 away. So that would be awesome. But I definitely want to get to AD. So it seems like she's my go-getter. She's about to move, and so I'm a little concerned that's gonna hold.
So if they've got 9
up a little bit, that transition. But I keep what I.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, how does the 9 shows break down? Sorry, I think we've got a little bit of delay. I'm gonna go in the office. Whenever I sit in this room, it has a little bit of a delay.
So she has my first line has 5 shows, and I think her person below her has 3 or 4 shows, and that's all this month. So they're definitely work. So she's talking about sponsoring, but I've also, one of the things, she's moving in April, but I've been talking about May is always like a huge month for me personally, for my business. And so she's really focusing a lot to make March great. But I've been telling her also, to focus on booking for May, because she'll be moving in April, and, maybe trying to go for star at that point if we don't hit it this month. Because it was such a great month.
Yeah, I'd say focus on it now first. If she's got 9 shows in the system, most people going for stars do not currently have 9 shows in the system. That typically doubles. So from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, your trunk show pipeline for your team typically doubles. So if we're only sitting at the 12th right now, you have to assume they're probably going to have about 15 team shows. So if the girl with 4 shows signed on 2 people and went for senior, because she's going to have that senior volume already, So she could double promote to senior, and then your girl just either flips 2 hostesses or signs on 2. I mean, it's kind of a done deal. She's just make sure she knows that with 9 shows already, I mean, it's a very, very high chance of it happening this month, and just really help her hostess coach all those shows so they all have a good turnout. Because you kind of want, in a situation like this, I always hesitant to encourage them to wait to do it later, because it sounds like all the stars are aligning now. And so instead of being like, well, maybe I'll look to May, because I mean, you can pull off your numbers if you have to, you know what I mean, to make it happen now. But to have that new star when you have 9 shows booked by the 12th, that's incredible. Yeah. So does everyone kind of see how that works? I've just seen it. I've been through so many promotions over the years that it's a natural thing for a coach to be like, well, my business is going to be better then, so maybe we should wait, and we'll just, you know, because it's scary to be going for a goal. But when things are lining up like that, when you've got all that happening for you already, you want to strike while the iron's hot. You want to say, okay, we're taking those 9 shows, we're gonna make them 15. And we've got the sponsoring special this month. She's in a completely untapped area. And so right now it's all about her and her new stylist, making a huge deal about them and getting them reaching out to as many people as they can and sponsor, because they could each, to be able to book that many shows, they're going to be in front of 90 people this month that they're going to be able to sponsor and use that special. And at the same time, they have so many friends and family, they're new, so that have never heard or seen of it. So reaching out and saying, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun, you should do this with me, they could potentially bring on quite a few girls. So I love that. That is a good problem to have, Virginia.
Yeah.
I think many people in this call would be like, I want one. Okay, very good. So who wants to go next? Victoria, do you want to go since you're on a pause at work right now? Like, are you able to talk right now?
Sure. I'm on an extended lunch break. My supervisor's out this week.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, so I feel like obviously our team is building some momentum. As Erin always says, like, we feel the snowball building, although right now I don't even want to think about snow because the weather's so nice. So anyway, I just think that our momentum's really good for our team, but I also think that sometimes when I'm so focused on coaching and sponsoring that I'll do an online show, but then like I'll be doing a Zoom like 30 minutes later, and then I won't be as like attentive to my trunk show guest, and then therefore my average trunk show is lower. And so trying not to, it's hard for me to not do everything like on the same nights, like kind of back to back, because my schedule in other areas of my life is busy. So just like learning to prioritize and like not and like be readily available for my new stylist, but like know too that like my personal business has to be at a certain level for me to be able to be a successful coach and to like come from that place of confidence. So right now I'm not anywhere near where I'd like to be in sales for the month. My goal is like 5,000 to 7,000 because I just need that to start like a savings, and we're saving and everything for some different things. And so financially I need that. And so I have to come from that place of like, hey, I'm doing this, and this with my business, like what you were saying earlier to Brittany, like sharing that with her team. I'm definitely doing that with my team, but then also just like learning how to prioritize when I coach and when I do my personal business, because it's not working, I don't think, on the same night.
Yeah, that sounds like it. And I'm the same way. Once I get into personal business mode, I just like to plow through it. But when I'm in coaching mode, it's all about everybody else. So yeah, breaking it up at least into like time blocks can help a lot. But so much of really at the star level, like associate, senior, star, your priority should be your personal business. It's about 2/3 of your time going to personal business, and about 1/3 of your time goes to. When you get to the director levels, that can shift a little bit. So when you start to build other stars, it becomes like 2/3 coaching, 1/3 personal business. Still working the personal business at the same level, that $5,000 level, but you're just adding in a little bit more coaching time. So it's so much, like I said with Brittany, so much of it at that level is just sharing what you're doing, sharing your words to say, sharing your actions. And you could do that as quickly as a group text. So if you've got everyone who's active on your team on one group text, or a whole group of stylists on one group text, like when I was sending out earlier today, sending out my what I was sending to my personal generation, I've got a little text of 20 first line leaders that I very quickly sent out. Hey, this is what I'm doing this morning. I'm personally messaging these words, this image, and then they can take it and run with it with their team as well.
And I like to set up my trunk shows sort of either at the end of the month before or just like a bulk of them for the first 2 weeks. And then share kind of my words to say and how I book those with my team. We're in a little bit of a, like, not a funk right now, but just like there are so many messages coming through from like stylists that signed on 2 days ago to stylists that are like almost nearing the end of their jump start, to stylists that have been, you know, here that wanted to be like encouraged and like get remotivated by it, like a new stylist energy. So we added them all to this group chat. And so now I'm going to create, I think, 3 different group chats. One will be, you know, emerging leaders, girls who've sponsored or promoted at the first level, you know, and then maybe do a top tips or, you know, tips from the top or something, you know, for girls outside of their jumpstart, but who haven't sponsored yet, who could use like tips on sponsoring their first stylist, you know, or booking, whatever, and using the tips that we use from our Maven calls to then just like kind of funnel that way. And then to do a separate group for jumpstart stylists, unless they have become like emerging leaders like Brittany and Kirby, you know, that are in kind of like that special like sweet spot of an area that are not really benefiting too much from like the initial here's what to say, you know. So I think Erin and I have pinpointed how we get people interactive in those groups, and then having you know, being able to like prioritize between the two of us, like which ones, you know, we can share our time that way. And then what else was I gonna say? Oh, for my online shows too, like since I do book them at the end of the previous month and the beginning of the first month, I actually had like my first cancellation in a really long time, and it was going to be like a huge fundraiser trunk show for Thursday. And so I feel like I haven't like booked anything with my team because I've kind of been a little discouraged that like this potential Purple Dot show is like canceled and I don't have any other shows. So like I have to just kind of get back in my groove of like prioritizing my personal business and coaching. And I know how to do that. It's just like sometimes we get in this funk and it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's like clearly I know what I'm doing. I just like, I get my head too much.
Totally. Yeah. I used to always use the analogy of juggling. Like I always feel like 2 parts of my business are going well and 1 drops. And then I pick up the one that drops and I throw that ball back in and then I drop another ball. That's constant. And it's a constantly looking, being like, instead of being like, gosh, I suck at this right now, or I'm not doing this at all, just picking it back up again and being like, okay, I know how to do this. I just have to work it back into the schedule. And so while, you know, my sales and booking might be really good, and then I haven't focused on sponsoring in a while. So now I've got to pick up that ball again. So that is 100% normal. And it's just, rather than panicking about it, it's just taking a deep breath, being like, okay, I know how to do this. I'm just going to prioritize that and work it back into the schedule. But you're doing so much right, and you've got so much momentum right now. So it's key when you start to feel overwhelmed like that to take a deep breath and remind yourself of how much booty you're seriously kicking right now, and to say, okay, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. I just have to take a deep breath, and the shows will come. I know how to book trunk shows, but I've got all of these new girls that are doing so well. And so I'm just going to share with them what I'm doing to grow my personal business, and then hope they follow suit. And it sounds like the way you're coaching right now with both Brittany and Kirby, and, you know, these 2 amazing up and coming leaders, they're going to watch you and how you share it, and they're just going to learn by watching you. And then hopefully now that they'll be part of the Mavens, they'll be able to get on here and kind of get insight from all of our top leaders on really how to kind of grow that business and continue growing. So
yeah, I'm so excited. They both have earned level 4 and they're going for the trip. And this is like, I'm so proud of them. I feel like such a like happy, proud coach.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That is amazing. Seriously. Okay. Charlotte, you want to go next?
Sure. So what am I supposed to be saying?
What your goals are right now, where you are versus where you want to be, and what actions you're taking to fill those holes.
Okay. So right now I feel like I have definitely been like all over the place lately. I feel like totally not relevant to Stella and Dot, but we were like trying to figure out if we were going to stay in our apartment another year or move. And I feel like, and we just decided to stay here yesterday, but I feel like looking back, it was like taking way more energy than I was realizing. It was just like really stressing me out, the uncertainty of it. So it's taken a lot of my focus away, and I just am honing back in on things. My business is not where I want it to be at all. I feel way behind on Glam earning, and I have been in a major sponsoring slump for like a while. So what I'm doing to like turn the ship around, and I have no shows for March. So all the things are like falling, all the balls are falling right now. It's fine though, because I'll figure it out. And a big piece of it is that I'm still, you know, for those of you who don't know, I just moved last summer. So I still feel like I've been here for 8 months now, but I still feel really new to the area. So like I'm still meeting people and totally rebuilding my network. So I just am going back to basics of like building my who do you know list. Okay, who do I actually know that I'm just not thinking of? There's always a ton of people on that list. So reaching out to them to book. And I'm just going back to like asking myself, okay, what are things, especially from sponsoring, what are things that I used to do that worked well that I'm not really doing anymore? And one of them is really like scheduling a time to talk on the phone with a potential stylist. Like I've really gotten away from that and just honestly like been lazy, and trying to seal the deal through text is just not effective. Like it's just not going to work. So I'm trying to I'm starting those conversations. I reached out to 20 people on Friday with a voice text, got 0 replies, just in case anyone, you know, has ever done that before. I was like not even surprised. And then I followed up with everybody yesterday and was able to have like 5 conversations back and forth. And I think I'm going to be chatting with one person on the phone on Wednesday. So trying to like just have that initial conversation. You know, is she intrigued? If so, hey, let's hop on the phone sometime this week, rather than continuing the conversation via text message, because it's just like not going to work. And honestly, I think I've just been a little bit jaded from having like a long stretch of sponsoring people who haven't been that excited about the business. And so I'm kind of like feeling blah about that, but I'm having an attitude adjustment and reminding myself that it only takes that one person who really is just like a firecracker who could like help me get to Glam level 2. So, or Glam, you know, trip for 2. So I am finding that day one mentality and just pounding the pavement.
Okay, I love this so much because everyone on this call obviously knows what a rock star Charlotte is, but is it not so refreshing to hear how she just kind of went through that? Because it's so true. Like this is the key. The people who stick it out in this business and who do well in the long run do exactly what Charlotte just said. They have bumps. Nothing is falling in their lap. They have periods where it comes really easy. They have periods where it comes really hard. They sit there and say, okay, so this isn't going so well, but here's what I'm going to do about it. Instead of just wallowing in the here's what's going badly. Because I hear that on calls all the time. People tell me everything that's going wrong, but they don't like flip that mentality around and be like, okay, here's what I can do to autocorrect. Here's what I can do to, change the course of that. And that is literally exactly what it takes to really do this business for the long run. And then you get exactly what Victoria talked about, that snowball effect. When you start taking these actions again, being like, okay, and she's not just saying, I'm doing it and nothing's happening. She's going, what did I used to do that worked that I'm not doing now? And then she's adding that into her schedule. So she's being like super accountable for her actions, acknowledging what the bumps are, and then coming up with a plan for taking action. Like that right there is brilliant. It's brilliant leadership. And it's also the key to longevity in this business. It really is. And obviously Charlotte has been around for a long time and has built an amazing team and amazing business. And I think reminding yourself of what's going well too. You know, I was looking at all of her downline leaders. We had that little challenge thing with Danielle, where we had each leader team, our star team had to book 10 more shows. And I was looking at your list of all your stars and I'm like, that is such an amazing thing that you've built these leaders. And so I think reminding yourself of like what's going really well at the same time of what to work on, that is a good reminder as well. So love that, Charlotte. It's awesome.
Thanks, Kelly. I'm working on being better at giving myself like positive feedback in addition to critiquing myself. Because thank you for the confidence boost. I definitely don't feel like a rock star right now. I feel like I suck. So if anyone else has ever felt that way before, you are not alone.
It's funny how so much could be going well, and when your personal business isn't where you want it to be, you can feel like you are like, well, might as well throw in the towel. Like when you have no drum shows on your calendar, it is like it's an overwhelming feeling. But instead of like letting that overwhelming feeling freeze you into action, it's just like, okay, I know from experience that once I start the ball rolling, once I start doing the reach outs, once I schedule it and make it a regular thing, that the shows will come. So when you tell yourself that, and then when you start to get them, like I booked a show last night for April, and I swear to God, I woke up this morning in the best mood, and I'm like, it's a show for like mid-April, and I'm like, but it gave me that little boost of confidence to be like, okay, now I gotta fill up the back half of March. But yes, if you take a step back and look at your business, Charlotte, you have so much to be proud of, and you are way ahead of the game. So now it's just, like you said, starting with that day one mentality and going out and getting new business.
Yeah, and I know I need that new energy from new stylists, like just to help me like feel the excitement again. I think that
is huge. That makes a gigantic difference. And what I was going to say too, I love the idea of you getting back on the phone, but I'm also thinking with your flexible schedule, like getting out to do some coffee dates. Like no one can say no to you in person. So if they have like an excuse to put cute clothes on, go out in, Durham or Raleigh and have a great lunch or a great coffee. Like I just saw one of my potentials who's kind of been not really super responsive. I saw she's coming from Williamsburg to Richmond tomorrow, and I was like, oh my gosh, I saw you're coming to Richmond. Let's grab coffee. I haven't heard back yet, but she probably thinks I'm stalking her because I saw she was coming to Richmond. But for me, that just putting cute clothes on and going out and meeting somebody, I feel like that is like the most high impact activity you can do. But you're right, phone is right there with it versus like just trying to do it by text. Okay, love it. Who wants to go next? Dana or Rhonda? Either one of you. Who wants to go?
Hey, this is Dana. I'll jump in. I am so appreciative of this call today. It's meeting me exactly where I am. I feel like Virginia and Charlotte, just hearing your stories and where you are and how you're focusing your energies has been incredibly helpful. I had a blowout month last month, or at least blowout month for me last month, and was really excited coming into March. My goal for a while now has been to promote to star. And I really felt like that was going to happen in March. And here we are in the middle of March. Has been a struggle to get shows booked. A couple of shows that were booked got pushed out. And so it has been a little disappointing. I had last week and this week, every single day, I had coffee dates set up for possible sponsoring conversations, and every single person has canceled or stood me up or postponed. So it's been definitely a challenge. But I am partially through this call, but also even in as I've been thinking about it the last couple of days, I think really honestly sitting down with my contacts list, because I've built a really big contact list in just a little over a year. And I need to, there's a lot of people I haven't talked to since a trunk show. So I think I need to go through, and Rhonda and I were talking about this too, just go through that contact list and start doing reach outs, and starting with hey, I don't know if you know about this March special that we've got going on, but if you're at all interested, I'd love to chat with you about it. And then seeing if I can get a show if they're not interested in the opportunity, and see what that may bring about. At this point, I am still very excited about April. So even though I don't have a lot of shows in the system yet, I have a ton, actually right now, more than I can handle for April with spring break happening for April that people have said they want to do. So just settling on dates and times and all of that. So, that's kind of where I am. I'm excited that the one very engaged girl on my team has started to pick up her activity level. And I think she's getting excited about some of the responses that she's getting to. And Kelly, I so appreciated you sending that text out this morning, because even though I was aware of it, she was not. And so once I sent it to her, she was excited about that. So those kinds of things are super helpful. So please keep that coming. So that's where I'm at. I Charlotte, I think you said this about, I had amazing success in sponsoring right at the beginning, and I have just not since then. And so trying to kind of figure that out, what worked, what do I need to do a little bit differently than what I'm doing right now. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
I love it. And we have 2 minutes and 50 seconds before it cuts off on us. So Rhonda, why don't you share with us real quick before we go? I think a lot of what Dana talked about is what everybody else, so you kind of got some good feedback, and we'll dive in more to those things on the other calls too. Okay, go ahead, Rhonda.
Okay, hi everybody. Well, first off, my daughter has the flu, so I'm praying I don't get it. So I've been dealing with that, and I too, I've been really feeling stuck, and I want to also take the actions to make myself not feel stuck. Dana and I haven't been able to meet because of sickness or whatever, and I really been missing her and her support. But bottom line, I guess I have a couple things going on. I've got 3 possible pop-ups, so I'm going to be following up with them today, and they all had to talk to their managers and call me back tomorrow. So I'm hoping that I can get some dates that way. And I have a sample sale at the very end of the month for myself. I have a potential stylist who would be perfect, and I'm just praying she signs on with me. She works in a salon as a facialist and manicure, pedicure, and she even wears it. She wears it. She gets compliments on the jewelry. And I said, you got your client base right here. It's such a win-win for her. So I followed up with her yesterday with a call. She said she's still not sure. She needs to think about it for another week. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's sort of frustrating because I know it would just be such a win-win for her to come on board. I have a friend in Williamsburg. Her grandmother died last month. She just texted me and she said, I'm really interested in what you were talking about, your business. So I really hope to get her on the books, hopefully this month or in April, because she reached out to me. I backed off when her grandmother passed away, but that would be in Williamsburg. So I'm just trying to, and then what Charlotte said about calling people, maybe that's something I need to try, calling, reaching out more personal via just texting, because I'm not getting a lot of response that way.
Yeah, I actually think you prefer the phone, don't you? Don't you actually like talking on the phone?
Sometimes I think it's easier for me, and then sometimes I think it's easier just texting. But I have some people. I'm in the Rosemont social homeowners meeting last night, and I've got 2 or 3 women right there that would just be perfect, to have a show. And one woman asked me about it. How's it going? And we couldn't really talk, but I'm going to call her. I'm going to call her after these calls and say, Holly, we should have a show. We have a March special going on. So I just really. The actions, I just want to continue. And I really think, like I've heard you guys say, is when you keep taking those actions, it will pick up, even though you're getting a bunch of no's now or holding off. And